Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Winnipeg Jets franchise mode here in NHL 24. So in last episode, we obviously had free agency. We made actually a pretty big splash in free agency, which I'll show you in a little bit. And we started up the season sim, but we are kind of off to a bit of a slow start. I don't know if it's because we had obviously a long postseason last year, but we're 11-10-2 at December the 1st, which has us at the moment still fighting to maybe in a playoff spot in a sense. But we have played one of the most games in our division. You can see like the Wild, they're down there at 19 games played with 20 points. We're at 23 games played with only 24 points. So we could still fall off quite a bit if our team goes on a losing streak. So isn't necessarily the best start for our team. Hopefully we could find a way to fix ourselves by the trade deadline so we could actually make the playoffs. But if we aren't going to make the playoffs, we could always go with the rebuilding route. Because obviously coming off a Stanley Cup win, it's not as important to win a Stanley Cup right away again. But it would be nice to pull off a back-to-back if possible. So yeah, we might make some changes in this episode to try and get our team to be assimilating better, and also kind of helping us for the future in a sense too, because we are going to be trying to pursue a better backup goaltender at the moment, because right now Connor Hellebuyck has been insanely good as a backup. I'll show you guys his stat line, just in case you forgot. But he has been really, really good at this part of the season. He's 9-8-2, so not the best win-loss ratio, but look at that save percentage and goals against. He has been absolutely locked in. And then so far, Oskari Salminen, who we decided to give a chance to as a backup, has not really been that type of guy. So I think we are definitely going to look at upgrading our backup spot and seeing if that could help our team win a few more games. Because if that does, this team could definitely still make it back to the playoffs, even though it is a little bit weaker without Nick Ehlers from last season, but still looks really good on paper. But anyways, before we get into all of that, let's get to your guys' comments and see what you guys have to say. So the first comment is from Michael Dose, who just says, say goodbye to Ruda. So I think he's thinking that we are probably going to have to trade Jan Ruda, which kind of sucks because Jan Ruda was so good last year when we won the Stanley Cup. But it is true that he doesn't really live up to his expectation this season. Like, I don't know if he really has an expectation, but you can see like last year when we brought him in, he had like 7 points, was a +10. This time around, he's a -10 through 23 games. Playoff-wise, last year, he was a +17 with 10 points, which is unreal. But it looks like he has unfortunately served his time here, and he likely will be getting dealt. So we could hopefully upgrade our defensive core by calling up somebody else from the minors. The next comment is from Flame Husky, who says, I'd stay put here and do absolutely nothing major. Maybe switch Chinnikov and Barabanov to get the second line going. So we will swap the two of these guys, see if that helps out anything but the offensive core a little bit. Obviously, this forward core looks really good still on paper, but if we need to make additions at the deadline, we will. If we need to make some subtractions, we will as well. Next comment is from Rahul B, who says, I don't understand the downgrade from Ehlers to Michelli, and Brossoit wanted league minimum as well, if I'm not mistaken. Would have been nice to keep the cup-winning roster together for one more year. And the main reason why I got rid of people like Ehlers and all that is because I think we are wanting to start go into a rebuilding route. We want to start getting some younger kind of guys in our lineup as well. Guys who are on kind of like team-friendly contracts. We don't want to have be kind of strapped down by an 8-year contract, so to speak, unless it's somebody like Perfetti who's like very young. So I don't want to be giving guys that are 28 years old 8-year contract extensions, unless maybe it's Kyle Connor if we want to keep him around as our captain because he is a pending free agent. Yeah, that's the main reason why I did that type of thing. And I also think this team definitely should start going into a rebuilding route based on how we started the season, but it obviously depends on how we do going up to the trade deadline. The next two comments are from Dylan Burrows. The first one says, I'd say grab a top 6 winger instead of that 83. That one deal for 85 from Montreal was a good deal. And then he also says maybe another D2. Goose was an option. See what his price is. I'm not going to try and make any trades that are very big blockbuster in this episode. We might leave that to next episode. So if we're trying to contend, based on where we are in the standings and stuff like that, we will definitely try and look at some players to hopefully upgrade our team a bit going into the playoffs. But if we're not going to make the playoffs, it's kind of pointless to do those type of trades because I don't want to be giving up picks that I'm going to need later on. So we are probably going to just do a little bit of a minor adjustment. And then obviously if it doesn't really do much, we will probably blow it up. If it does make it a huge adjustment, then we will look to start adding those really good players. And then the last and final comment is from Captain Burnout, who says, great video, Snipe. I would try and trade away Ruda and a pick or your current backup for a better backup goalie. Ruda is going downhill, and I would try and call up Kyrud and see how he fits in your top 6. If he doesn't fit well, I would look for another good shutdown D-man that fits your top 6. So he also he has another reply to his comment. Let me get to that first. I did realize actually, but I forgot to actually mention it. He says, also, I think you should swap Scheifele and Perfetti to see if it helps out your top 6. As for your 4th line, maybe put Kupari as center and Gustafsson as your left wing. So let's swap Perfetti and Scheifele around, and let's swap Gustafsson and Kupari, see if that helps out anything. And then, yeah, like he was saying, what we're going to be doing is trading Jan Ruda and probably our backup goalie in Salminen to get ourselves a better backup goaltender for Hellebuck. And then we will call up Christian Kyrou and see how he fits on this top 6 pairing. If he doesn't fit that well, then obviously we should probably still look for a better top 6 D-man. But I think it's a good time to give Christian Kyrou an opportunity. So might as well go ahead and do that type of trade. So I did write down a few trade options that I had in mind, and because I was looking at backup goalies, and I did find a couple good backup goalies, and one of them is kind of really intriguing just because he's only a pending RFA. He's 25 years old. I don't really know if Anaheim would actually really want to move him in real life, but when I went to the trade finder, they were asking for only a 4th and a 5th, but obviously we're trying to upgrade our backup goaltending situation, so we have to give them our current backup to get this deal done. But let's go to this trade. With the Anaheim Ducks, we are going to be trying to acquire Lucas Dostal. Now, Anaheim is a very good team right now, so it doesn't really make sense for them to downgrade their goalie situation, but they were giving me an offer when I wanted Lucas Dostal. So, Lucas Dostal, we want to bring him in as our backup. I believe he's been a pretty solid goaltender too, is what I was looking at. Yeah, so far he's got a 9-10 through 3 games. He has bounced around between AHL and NHL. So I don't really know if he's really the best goaltender for this position, but he is a young goaltender and somebody that we could hold on to for a few years if we end up moving away Hellebuck at some point. So Lucas Dostal will bring him in. We also do have to take back another roster player because we are going to be moving, what's his name again? Jan Ruda. Goddamn, why couldn't I remember that? Yep, moving Jan Ruda in this deal, and they would be over players' salaries or something like that. So we got to bring in Jimmy Vesey, who's just an AHL type of guy, but we could easily use him as NHL depth if we need to at some point if there's multiple injuries. So it'd be Dostal and Vesey, and then we'd be giving up Salminen, who's our current backup. He's not really that great, so we throw in Salminen, and we'd also be giving them Jan Ruda, because Jan Ruda is going to get replaced by a young Christian Kyrou, who should be really good for our team, help out with the offense from the back end, so to speak, which is going to be nice. So we will throw, if we go sort by overall, because Ruda's got very little value as well, we'll throw him into this deal. And then they wanted a 4th and a 5th technically as the main part of this deal, so I will give them a 4th round pick and see if that's enough. If it's not, obviously I could add more to this deal, but we don't have our 3rd round picks, so we'll give a 4th rounder into this deal. And I think that should get it done. To me, those values look pretty close. So Salminen and Ruda, 4th and a 4th for basically Dostal, because we're not going to really utilize VC that much unless we could throw him into a sweetener into any other trade. But let's see if this goes through. And that's rejected. Okay, so let me see if I throw in that 5th. So basically you're getting a couple extra players in this deal, and you're getting what you originally wanted in the first place. I'm okay with giving up 4th and 5th round picks at the moment, but eventually we're going to still need to keep on to our picks, right? So let's see if this works. Salminen, Ruda, a 4th and a 5th for Dostal and VC. That's accepted. Perfect. So they get a couple extra free pieces added to that deal that they originally wanted. But now we have Lucas Dostal as our backup. He's actually only an 81, but that's still pretty decent. And then, yeah, Millich and Grant will still run the AHL. So there we go. We've made ourselves our only minor trade of this episode, but there is a chance that we'll make a lot in next episode, depending on how this team is simulating at that point in time. So Dostal will come in. I don't know why it says 5-on-5. Oh, it's defense. Yeah, right. We got to call up a guy. So let's just put in a forward here temporarily, because we don't actually we know we have Sandberg. We'll put Sandberg in there for a time being while we call up Mr. Christian Kyrou. Hopefully Kyrou fits his team well, because it will be nice to get him in, because we acquired him in a pretty good trade. So We will have to send somebody down on the roster, which means I will likely send down Jimmy VC, yeah, who just got acquired. And VC didn't even get claimed, so that's actually pretty good. Let's go back to edit AHL lines, put in a random defenseman on this defensive core who is scratch, which I don't know if there is anybody. There isn't. So I guess a forward will have to play defense. Jimmy VC will play some defense in the AHL. Why not? That's kind of funny. I didn't realize we had that little of defenders. We're definitely going to need to draft some more of them. Definitely going to need to. So VC will just go in all of these positions for now. He'll go in the shootout, of course. That should hopefully help our AHL team in terms of offense maybe a little bit. Maybe not so much on the defensive front when you have a forward down there, but never know. And so, taking out Sandberg, does this work well for our team? It's okay. It's okay. It's not bad. It's not negative, so that's a good sign. So Christian Cairo, we have Morrissey and Hedman. So those three guys should help out our offense quite a bit. The other guys are more defensively minded. Do you want to give Cairo power play time? If he doesn't already. I feel like you could benefit from some power play time, but I don't know if I want to. Maybe I will take... Maybe I'll do something. Maybe I'll just go for extra lines. I'll give him some more ice time here on like the second unit instead of Heinola. And maybe not yet. Maybe we don't want to rush him into the lineup. Let's just leave it the same, see how it works. So this is our new work team for this next part of the season. I think this team should be able to win more games, hopefully with a better backup goaltender. We'll see how Dostal does with us. And then, yeah, AHL-wise, I don't know how they're going to do with a Ford as a defenseman, but you never really know. So there we go. That's our trade. We are going to simulate up to a day before the trade deadline, and if we're not doing that well at that point, like we're below 500 or 500, maybe we just start to think about blowing it up, but I will obviously leave that kind of stuff up to you guys once we take a look at like the trading block and that type of thing. But let's go to the end of this month and see how we do in this month of action. Like I said, hopefully Dostal is good for us. Oh man, should I claim him back? No, I'm joking. I wouldn't claim him back at that 2.3, but so the AI logic is kind of dumb in a sense that they took Jan Ruda, I guess, for free, so maybe in a way it does make sense, but they immediately try to waive Jan Ruda, which is something I probably could have done myself, but I'm not going to claim him. That's kind of funny though. I forget that you always get first opportunity to claim a player that that you recently tried to waive, but I don't know if that's the reason why. And we're losing a lot of games still, which is not ideal. Now we're on a winning streak though, which is good. 4 games in a row. Third in Silverberg for Cam and Higgins. No thank you. Cam is our top prospect. We are likely to headed to rebuild route soon. Not sure if it's this season or next season. But we're 20, 15, and 3 now, so that's a little bit better. We are currently second best in our division. The last wildcard spot's on 38 points, and we're on 43. Now the difference is, though, the Preds are at 34 games played, we're at 38. So that's a bit scary, the fact that we've played the most games in our division, but we are only on 43 points. Wildcard over there has 46. Yeah, we got to be aware of the Coyotes, who are only 2 games less played than us, but 5 points back. And, yeah, then we got to be also aware of a couple other teams as well. This is going to be a tight race, I think, to make the playoffs. Let's take a look quickly at how Dostal has been doing for this team. Because Dostal is obviously the main addition to this team. And I'll also take a look at how Cairo's been doing so far after that first month of action. So Dostal, that's not bad. He's actually 6-1 though. He's winning a lot of games, which is great considering Salmonen was not winning games. Even though the numbers are not the best on paper, I mean, at least Dostal's winning games. And that's what kind of matters at this point. And then I want to also take a look at Cairo. How has Christian Cairo fit this team? 1 assist in 15 games. He's not really getting a lot of ice time, so it kind of makes sense. I think he's getting very little ice time, right? Yeah, only 13 minutes. I kind of want to give him power play time because I know he does produce really well offensively in franchise at some points. Yeah, I'm going to put him on the power play and see if I could give him some opportunity to get some offense. Which means I will probably take Heinola off the power play. Which might be controversial because Heinola is also decent offensively, but Got to give Christian Kyrou an opportunity somewhere, right? So we'll get Kyrou into that spot. And I think I'll also put him where Chinnikov is here. I just want to get the youngster some time to see if he could start producing on an offensive level. Maybe he's not ready to take that offensive leap yet, but I'm hoping that he will be soon. Okay. So we are in a playoff spot right now, but we definitely need to continue on this trend. We're 7-3 in our last 10 games. Let's go another month and see where we're sitting at that point. Hopefully we're still doing well. Like I said, we'll go up to a day before the deadline so we could actually make a smart decision on what we actually want to do with this team, because we obviously don't want to assimilate too little and then obviously kind of like make a lot of trades that don't end up helping our team or whatever. So we're on a losing streak. That's not ideal. Now we're on a winning streak. I feel like this team is still very inconsistent. There's a lot of losses in a row, and then there's also a lot of wins. Like there's back-to-back losses after back-to-back wins, after 3 straight losses. Like that's not a good thing that we're losing a lot of games and we have more games played than a lot of other teams. We're 24, 22, and 5. We are in a wildcard spot still, but we're 3 games up on the Preds, and we only have 4 more points. Yeah, we need to be much better here down the road. So let me make some line adjustments, because something is just not clicking with this team right now. And I'm not exactly sure what it is. Let's move Michelli down, Velarde up. We'll move Chinnikov back to the top line. Move Scheifele back to the top line just to get that chemistry back. How has youngster Chaz Lucius done? 15 goals. That's actually pretty good. I was going to say if he was struggling, maybe 4th line, but do we want to make any other adjustments? Maybe with the defensive core split of Morrissey and Hedman. That's not a bad option, I guess. We'll go Roy and Morrissey, Haig and Hedman, and then Heinola and Kyrou. Goalie-wise, we'll still obviously keep it the same. Yeah, I think that's good. I don't know why this team is struggling at the moment, but they definitely need to find themselves. Maybe we just have a lack of offensive depth after we lost Ehlers. I know it was kind of a weird decision to get rid of Ehlers, but at the same time, I think it was good for us to not lock up a guy that long term. Let me decline that. I'm not trying to trade for Jeff Skinner. But yeah, let's see how we do a little bit up to the deadline. We are, I think, only a month away. Yeah, we need to win a lot of games up to this stage, okay? If we have a 500-month year, I think we start to think about trading away players. If we are in a better spot than we currently are, then I think we try to upgrade our team a little bit. But it really depends on this team. Let's do 3 games at a time. First 3 games of the month. Come on, boys. Let's get wins here. 4-0 shutout. That's nice. Hellebuck's still playing good. 6-5 shootout loss, which is completely reversed of that almost. But at least it was a point. And game against Anaheim is a 7-4 loss. Hey, we're actually in an okay spot now. Maybe not. 5 points up on the Preds with 2 games played more than them. Okay. While they're only 4 points back of us with 1 less game played. So it is very tight still. And then there's also the Seattle Kraken, who are very close to us too. We got to worry about. They're only 2 points back with the same amount of games played. It's going to come down to the wire at this rate. We might have to just make a decision between playoffs or not this year. Come on, boys. Big games here. Lose there. Win over Nashville. That's huge. And lose there. That's not good. We are still in a wildcard spot, but we are definitely playing with a lot of fire right now. The Wild have played more games than us now, which is good, and they're 1 point back. So we do have a game in hand. The Preds are 7 points back with 2 games less played than us. So in terms of our own division, we're starting to make up some ground. Obviously, the Wild are still a little bit scary. In terms of the Pacific, the Kraken have played 1 more game than us and have 2 more, actually the exact same amount of points as us. So we need to win games while we have those games in hand. This is a big week. Let's win those 4 games if we can, please, boys. We're not trying to make any big blockbuster deals just yet. There's a win. There's a loss in OT, which still gives us a point. A loss and a win. Okay. We're up to 63 points, which actually has us not in a wildcard spot anymore. So yeah, being at 63 points is pretty good. The Coyotes are on the wildcard spot now at 62. I think, no, the Kraken are at 66. So the Coyotes are the team we got to worry about right now, because they're 1 point back of us with 1 game in hand. Technically, the Coyotes would be the team that jump into the playoffs, because we're not in a wild card spot at this point. We're in a divisional spot. So we have to win these type of games. That game coming up against the Kraken's pretty big as well. But obviously we won't find out the results till next episode when we actually advance to the trade deadline. So let's see what happens in these 2 games before the deadline. We have Buffalo and Edmonton. Come on, guys. We need to win both these if we can. There's a win and a loss. Still very inconsistent. 29, 27, and 7. I am really surprised we're actually in a playoff spot at this predicament. We're 3 points back of that wild card spot technically, but we're 3 points up with 2 games played more. So technically the Coyotes could leapfrog us very easily still, which is not ideal. So we definitely have a tough decision in next episode. Do we add more pieces to hopefully solidify that last playoff spot, or do we blow it up because we're losing a lot of games? It's going to be interesting to make a big decision on that, because I think we can still make it to the playoffs, but obviously we got to be very wary of the Coyotes and Minnesota technically too, who is very much in the playoff mix. There's a couple other teams as well that are kind of close, but not as close. So let's take a look at our player stats and also team stats, see what's going wrong right now with the team, and then we'll look at the trading block and see if there's anything out there that we could bring in. So at this rate right now, actually let's just go to the Western Conference. Yeah, see, we're in the 8th spot right now. In terms of goals for per game, we're not scoring enough. Our offensive depth has definitely dropped off a lot. 2.97. Where is that rank in the entire league? I don't think very good. Yeah, we're one of the worst offensive teams in the league, I think, at this stage. Maybe around mid-table, but still, the offense needs work. Goals against per game wise, we're much better defensively. Yeah, so we're a good defensive team, it looks like, at this rate, but it could be just Connor Hellebuyck. But we definitely need better offense, I feel like. Our power play has been actually pretty good, though. So our offense is getting our working from our power play, but not 5-on-5, I guess. And penalty kill has not been ideal, I think. It's a little bit of mid on everything, pretty much. Yeah, I don't really know. Based on those, what we need to tweak. Probably just we need to get more scoring. Scheifele's been good. Perfetti's been good. Verlardi's been okay. He's been actually pretty solid, I'd say. Lowry's been solid. Lucius has been pretty good in his rookie season. Hasn't scored since we last looked, which is not ideal. Gustafsson has been okay, but the plus-minuses on this team have been tragic. Kupari's been okay as well. Yeah, it's just a plus-minus that's very bad. So we are not scoring enough for sure. Connor's been really good. Michelli has been okay. Wasn't being as good as I was expecting when I brought him in. I thought he was going to be more like a younger Nick Ehlers in a sense, but we definitely could look for some more good players to add to the mix. Chinnikov has been pretty solid. Barabanov has been okay. Not as good as last year, I think. And Fisher's been solid as a 4th liner. Morrissey's been good. Hedman's been good. Heinola's been solid, but -7. Hagg's -17. How is Nick Hagg doing this bad? Oh my goodness. I didn't want to sign him that long term for him to play that bad. Matt Roy's been pretty bad. Christian Kyrou has been getting better offensively, but he's a -7. And Dylan Sandberg has actually been really good when he's played, +5 through 7 games. Goaltending wise, Hellebuyck has got a 9.11. So he's been still pretty solid, but not as good as he was early in the season. And then Lucas Dostal, since acquiring him, has been not the best either. I'd say he's a little bit better than what Salmonen was. He is still winning games, though, which is good and getting us points. But, yeah, that's basically that. The question is, what do we need to bring in to help this team offensively to get that playoff spot, or do we just blow it up, like I said? We have a lot of pending free agents. Like, let me show you guys the contract situation before we look at what's available on the block. In terms of, like, the pending free agents again, let me move my head so you guys can actually see stuff. So there you go. So you can see Kyle Connor's pending UFA. That's the big one. And if we're playing this bad, I don't know if he would want to come back to the team. You have Gabe Velarde, who's an RFA, Barabanov, and Lowry, who are both pending UFAs. Michelli's an RFA. Roy's a pending UFA. Fisher as well. Gustafson's RFA. Pretty much a lot of these guys are RFA, but there is a lot of UFAs we could move out if we decide to just blow it up. Because Fisher and Roy probably won't fetch us a ton. Lowry, maybe a decent amount. Barabanov could fetch us a good amount. And Kyle Connor could fetch us a lot if we are to trade him at this point. Which I don't know if I would want to, but it's up to you guys. Dostal's pending RFA, same with Milic. And then we have our young goaltenders as well that are unsigned at the moment. But there's basically the contract situation. Let's go to the trading block and see what's out there. In terms of both areas, in terms of if we want to go rebuilding or if we want to actually contend. Because if there's stuff that is going to help us in the playoffs, obviously maybe we want to trade for that. But if there's stuff that might help us in terms of rebuilding, maybe we want to go for that instead. Like younger players that could help us out a lot down the road. I'll just basically skim through this. If you guys see anything intriguing, let me know. There is some scoring options out there like Brad Marchand, for example, but how's he doing offensively? We'd have to give up a lot to get him. He's doing good offensively. He would be really nice to help out the offense, but at the same time, do we want to make a trade like that, knowing that we're not really that good of a team? There's also still like Alex Tuck on the block, Olofsson, for like contending-wise. Yeah, there's definitely players that would help us maybe make the playoffs, but for how long is the question. Like, are we going to just make a trade and then it's going to be a first-round exit? That's where I'm worried about. And then you have some prospects like Foodie, for example, or Foudy. Jenner's out there. Yeah, there's a lot of good players out there, which is great, but I don't really know exactly which direction I want to go with this team. I feel like the rebuilding route might be the better option just because obviously if we give up a lot of like assets, for example, and then we don't make it that far in the playoffs, it was a very big failure. So, but there is a lot of good pieces that could help us out a lot. So that's at least good. Because then we have our options the way. Like I might have to like do a poll on the community tab or something to get you guys to just decide on which direction we take this team. Because I think we should go rebuild, but I feel like I would still want to try and go for a playoff spot again, but the team isn't doing as well as they were last year, obviously. I think losing Nick Ehlers definitely hurt a lot more than actually I was expecting. Your Venti would be a good prospect, for example. He's got only top 9 potential, but still, there is some good younger options out there. And probably some that aren't even on the block. Like, I wonder what Kyle Connor actually could fetch us, to be honest. I might actually take a look at that if I remember after I look at this. Because I am curious if he could fetch us something crazy. I would probably have to edit our trading block, though, is the thing. So yeah, we definitely have some prospects that we could trade for. There's also some really good goaltenders like Demko, but we don't really need a good goaltender like that as a backup. Anything else? Not really. Okay, so that is that. Let's take a look quickly at what some of our pending free agents could potentially fetch us. I mean, I don't know if these offers are going to be anything that I'm intrigued in. But let me just see. So, pending free agents. We have Matt Roy, for example. What could he find us? A 3rd and a 4th round pick. 2nd and a 7th. So, Roy gets us basically some just mid-round picks, which is not bad. We don't actually have a 3rd round pick of our own. So, if we wanted to trade Matt Roy. Who else do we have on a pending free agent deal? Barabanov. What could he fetch us? Let's just go open trade block. Top 6 prospect in a 6th, or another top 6, which is Hellenius, in a 7th. Interesting. That's not bad from the Devils. We also have Christian Fisher. Probably not much, right? A 3rd in Robida. That's kind of crazy. Actually, a 3rd round pick to get Christian Fisher. Alright, get rid of Christian Fisher. That's pretty solid, considering that guy didn't play an entire season, and we signed him, I think, in free agency. So, if I remember right. Yeah, there is actually some options for Christian Fisher. What else we got? Let's see. 1 year left. Kyle Connor's the big one. There's also Michelli, but he's RFA, so I want to hold on to him. But Kyle Connor, what would he get us? No trades found. We would have to edit our block probably to find out what we could get for him. But he's got a lot of value. A lot. So we'd have to make a big decision if we want to move him. What else? Adam Lowry. What could he fetch us? A 2nd and a 7th. Hellenius, Mass. Mid-round picks as well. What about Gabe Velarde? Even though he's a pending... I think he's pending UFA, actually. A lot of offers. 50 offers for him. Jeez. Okay. Let's just skim through these anyways. And if you guys see anything that's intriguing for these type of players, if we want to go the rebuilding route. Because looks like a lot of roster players right now, but we can't get like a 2nd and a 4th for Velarde. But I think holding on to him might be an okay thing too. But I didn't expect there to be this many offers for him. But here we are. Huh. Helenia seems to be getting shipped out quite a bit by New Jersey based on these offers. Yeah, there's a ton of offers. This might be the most offers I've gotten for one player. I feel like that's probably the max offers you could get. We also have... Wasn't there anybody else? No, there wasn't. Okay. So there's that. There's also actually guys that are signed long-term like Scheifele and Hellebuck that we could trade too. But we could wait till next year to do that. So there's that. I also wanted to take a look at the draft class briefly to see if it's worth like trading guys for first-rounders. No franchise player, but there is medium elites. There is the guys like Gavin McKenna and all that in this draft. Doesn't look like the strongest draft class on paper again. They did say it was a bit weaker than normal in the offseason, so I don't know if this is a draft that we would want to actually have like an early first-round pick in. We might want to trade for future first if we're going to do that. So there is that. And final thing I wanted to actually take a look at, because I almost forgot about doing this, was taking a look actually at the AHL player stats. I don't want to go to contracts. I want to go to AHL player stats because I am curious on how some of our prospects are doing that are down there. It looks like some of them aren't getting much growth, which kind of sucks. AHL team is having a rough year. How has VC been as a defenseman, out of curiosity? Bringing offense, but not defense. But I am curious on one guy, and that is our backup goaltender in the AHL, being youngster Johnny Grant. He's been actually pretty good. I mean, he's got a losing record, but a .914 save percentage is pretty solid. And he's only at 71, so I don't think he's even developing, which is not great. I don't think he is. Let's take a look at the progress reports and see if he actually is. I know we're only like at the halfway point of the season, or more than halfway point, but I still want to take a look if he is developing. Because, yeah, he might be one of our future goaltenders at some stage, if he's actually growing. Well, let's see. He's not at this rate. The only players that are growing at the moment is like Galvis, who's probably AHL bound next season, which is nice. Whoa, ho, ho. Aiden Irving's up to a 77/20. That's a huge one for our future. Huge player for our future. Let's go, Irving. His offensive awareness is really good. His shot accuracy is great, but his power is trash. Okay. Yeah, so Aiden Irving is looking really good. He might jump right to the NHL next year. That's really awesome to see. Brad Lambert's also getting close to being NHL ready. Stankoven too. So we are going to have probably some younger guys joining our lineup next season, which is exciting. But anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of our Winnipeg Jets franchise mode. So in next episode, we will make a tough decision which route we want to go. Do we want to try and contend for the playoffs by acquiring some guys that are going to help us out offensively, because I think that's what we mainly need, and defensive play maybe a little bit too? Or are we going to decide to go the rebuilding route and ship off a lot of our pending free agents? Let me know down below, and I'll see you guys next time.